Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Beneath. But we're not going to be playing the Dungeon Beneath today because today I wanted to do something a little different. So, as we can see, 132, which is full of all these awesome little dwarven buddies, has come out. We have Cleric of the Hammer, the Brewmaster, the Runesmith, the Battle Thane, Xerxes, Ven the Eldest, and Aaron the Forest Spirit. We have bonfires, treasure rooms, and Amon's treasure room. I don't know if I have seen Amon's treasure room. The new legendary difficulty. They buffed some characters. They reworked the Wraith Conduit. New equipment, other changes, just the standard buffs and balance patches. But today, I want to look at the one thing that I think is holding the game back. And I hope that, man, I would really like to, allied mages can't be exhausted and your party limits increased by 1. Oh, I really like it. I like Xandos, so. Oh, well, that is instantly what I should not have done. But this will be my... That's okay, because, again, we're not actually going to... I'm already max level. It doesn't matter. I kind of wish he would say... So I had 1 point. I'm already max level. It does not matter. So, with this highly technical review that you just saw... New game, again, does not matter. It would take Eloa. So first of all, the thing that holds the game back, and again, if Puzzlebox Game looks at this video, I hope they understand I love the game, and I play the game a lot. And you've seen a lot of the playthroughs on the channel, and I'm going to keep playing the game, as well as any other games they decide to make. I'd love to see more of the lore of this world, and other types of games, and like a more traditional dungeon crawler maybe, I don't know, but... Right now, they have, and they've commented on comments both for myself and other people. And the biggest thing holding the game back is that at the higher difficulties, the only parties that are really viable, doesn't mean you can't win with others, just means that you have to get either very lucky on your character selection item drops, or you can just go the tried and true way. If you build for healing, which is a hope build, or if you build for armor, which is an armor build, you can do decently well in this game. If you don't, there is a... So those are the top 2 builds, and you can argue about which one is 1 and which one is 2. The space between them and number 3, I technically like to think some kind of poison or archer build on number 3. Because you can get a lot of archers and you can buff them actually with some good, decent party-wide buffs. You can... really see a massive drop-off in viability between number 2 and number 3. And let's get into why for a second. So first of all, you select your hero when you're starting a game. And then you have your option here. If you choose New Game Minus, which is I would always recommend for just your first run, to get used to it. Allied characters have more health, enemies have less health, items are more expensive. Just to get you a little bit of training wheels. One time for new players. Just to get you guys some training wheels. As that, here's how you party build, here's how you fight, here's how you take care of harder enemies in the 3rd tier or at the end game. Then you have new game, everyone is balanced. Then we have new encounters and enemies are stronger, but your characters are not nerfed. You go up to new game double plus. Enemies are stronger and allies are weaker. Not your heroes, but the other people who stand on your side of the battlefield. We're going to look at them, don't worry. Go to New Game Plus 3. Enemies are stronger, allies are weaker, and now your items are more expensive. So you can afford either less items or you have to have the same amount of equipment, but it's of a lower quality. And then I've not beaten New Game Plus 4 yet. I really wish I could. But I'm having trouble with it now, and as I know a lot of other people are having trouble with it. The enemies are much stronger, the allies are weaker, and the items are more expensive. So, new game is a standard difficulty. You go up 1 level, your enemies get buffed. You go up another level, enemies are buffed, and your allies are debuffed. You go up to number 3, the enemies are buffed, the allies are weaker, and the items are debuffed with the more expensive. You go up to 4, enemies are much stronger. So the enemies are double buffed, your allies are debuffed. So now there's 3 levels of buff, debuff between the sides, and the items are more expensive. I would guess, I don't even want to guess what +5 is, but let's look at the highest difficulty that I've unlocked. Illithor calls your name. Can you hear it? So, right away, let's talk about your formation. Now, the sides of the battlefield are even. Sometimes there's a little thing at the bottom here that says skeletons will spawn from bone piles that one will appear on each turn, or there'll be a healing fountain somewhere on the map. It's going to randomly heal 2 times 1 HP allies or enemies. You get to the very bottom, and everything only affects you. You've seen like the volcano level on the 3rd tier dungeon. Well, one of these 6 spaces will always have flaming rock that's going to deal 5 damage to you. So your formation does matter in this game. In most times, you're going to have your party limit. In your party limit, you have a maximum party size, excluding summon characters. But one of the first problems with this is that you have 6 spaces, so you would think, oh, I have 5 people I can... No. Your hero, in this case, Eloa, counts as 1. These 3 count as the other 3, that's why I'm at 4 or 5. There is no item I can find that increases your party size in the dungeon. Now, we did see, it was actually good that we saw Xandos the Third, because he has the crown, which will increase your party size. And I highly recommend using him a lot on a custom game once you've unlocked it. So your hero can only be in the very back row. She's inexhaustible, which means I can move and attack at the same time. If you don't have inexhaustible, you cannot do that. And if you highlight any hero, you will see the keywords on their card will be expanded upon. So the things most important when you're deciding your formation are, and I'm going to actually go into here because this will let me look at their card without moving. We have the name is, for some reason it's down here at the, where you saw the card when you're looking at it on the screen. It's at the top. And these little yellow circles, don't worry about it. It just means that you've beaten the game with that person in the party. So your hero's name is here. Their species and their class are here. There are items that can only be used by certain species. There are items that can only be used for a certain class. But when you're determining formation, the most important things to look at are your HP, your attack, your speed, and this space will have if you're frontline only or backline only. And of course, this is down here at the bottom of the character card is their ability. Now, here's the important part. The 2 biggest things on this card, speed, attack, are good for party building, but for formation, what we want is HP, and we want enough people in front. There are 3 basic classes that your champions, which are your recruitable characters, can utilize. You have archers, you have fighters, and you have mages. In general, mages are back only. In general, fighters are front only. There are exceptions to these rules. And an archer has no restriction. Again, there are exceptions to every rule, but that is it. As you go up in difficulty, you cannot have a mage without somebody in front of them. Let me show you why. This is the Cleric of the Path, and he is backline only. But the thing we care most about is his HP, 2. Very quickly in this game, he will get one-shotted with just 2 hit points. If I was at a lower difficulty, he'd have at least 3 hit points at his lowest level. But again, we're looking at why other party builds are not as viable at the top of the higher top of the difficulty curve, excuse me. 4 of 4 HP sounds a lot better, and it is. It's twice as good as level 1. He levels up decently well. For a mage, he gets 1 HP and 1 attack every single level. But remember, I just reminded you that there's a dungeon portion in the 3rd portion of this game where a rock that does 5 damage is going to fall on one of those 6 squares. So if this was the Cleric of the Path, I would have to move him if the rock was going to hit him, because he cannot tank that. Now, it doesn't mean that he sucks, because here you've got his item slots. I can give him an item that gives him a shield, negates one hit. I can give him items that increases HP. I can give him a lot of stuff. I can even give him stuff to where if he does die, I get some kind of bonus or benefit. But here's the thing. The Cleric is mainly here to heal. He has to attack for 2 damage, and then he'll give one of the other characters that's not my hero, one of the other champions, will gain 2 health. That's it. He's a centerpiece of a hope build. Hope being the key word that is, whenever a character increases their health, then some other characters will do an action, they'll get an extra hit in, or they'll heal as well, or you will get some kind of benefit. The last episode you guys saw, the Chandler, his follow-up, trigger all allied doom effects. I gave him the cultist and I gave him other people, and so what he did was he guaranteed, which was really good for a doom build, he guaranteed that you would get at least everybody's doom effect off at least once per round. That is huge for doom builds. And as you can see, he has 7 hit points, so he can tank a decent job. And he's a fighter, so you know you're going to want to equip armor and shields on them so that they heal decently. Going back to our hope build, here's our butcher. 3 hit points to attack. And I love how really his knife just gets bigger. And he doesn't gain any attack, but as you can see, he gains 6 health at level 3, and instead of just healing 1 hit point 1 time, he'll spread out 3 times. He can trigger a lot of hope builds. It's amazing. And he can go in the front. But if he's not in front of this guy's probably going to die. Halfway through the dungeon, almost any hit this guy can take without proper equipment, and you cannot guarantee you're going to get him proper equipment. He's going to take like a little wet piece of paper and die. And if this is one of the things that's triggering your hope build, you're having those problems. This guy is the Fey Adept. He is both poisonous and gives a boost to your summoned allies. At level 3, he gives a substantial boost in attack to your summoner. This guy is meant to be either a 2nd tier poison supporter, or because he only does 1 damage and he has low speed. He's not meant to do anything else but either poison or buff your summoner. Possibly both. If he can get a shot off on high HP opponents or the boss, then he's dealing bonus damage every single round. But his maximum hit point at difficulty level 4 is 3. He cannot take any hits from... There's not really a lot of damage he can take. So, you have to... You gotta... This is how you have to build most of your parties. The front 3 spaces have to be filled, and then you can have someone in one of these back spaces. That instantly cuts out a lot of hope builds. It cuts out a lot of... It doesn't cut out a lot of poison builds, but it cuts out some. Archer builds are fine because archers can go anywhere. But because the party size is so limited and the characters are so weak, if I don't have a front line to go toe-to-toe with the enemies, then I'm in a lot of trouble. And so because these characters get smacked with the debuff, like front only 8 hit points, back only 4 hit points. And in fact, he gains no stats between 2 and 3. Now that's probably because he goes from 2 ravens to 2 wolves. And a wolf is a 1-4 and a raven is a 1-1. But he's still only level 4. Cleric of the Hammer, back row. 5 hit points for a mage. He's tanky. Brewmaster, no, he's got no... I wasn't sure if he was counted as a mage or a fighter. But no, he can go anywhere. Your archers are a little less tanky, but they have the added benefit of going... Although, again, he's only got 4 hit points. I can't really use him in a lot of the builds that are going. Your Flame Adept, 4 hit points. Your Horsebucks, 3 hit points. You saw that I was very careful to only get this guy last run with somebody in front of him. This Prexter, 4 hit points. The Sharpshooter, 5 hit points. Why, this little rogue has more hit points than a lot of the mages. This Royal Guard, 9 hit points. He can tank a little. The Sanguinist is a really fun class, but he only has 4 hit points. There are so many classes that are automatically disqualified because you have to build your front line first, and you have a very limited time to do that. So, like, I guess you could technically build an inexhaustible build where everybody's inexhaustible. He's got 8. Steel Summoner. He's a mage, but he's frontline only, so he's got 7. Tinkerer. I'm not ever going to use the Tinkerer because that bomb hits everything in a row, and you cannot really control where he goes. It does a lot of damage, I'll be honest. The Tanner. These classes that generate gold I don't really use. The Venom Drinker, who is a fighter. 5, but he restores health. He's obviously meant to be a poison character. Venomancer, 4 health. Wraith Conduit, 4 health. And really hard to use because his counter is to attack and he only has 4 health, so you need a way to reliably heal him. Amogen, 4 health. Arcane Archer, 4 health. Assassin, probably 5 health. Evoking Guard, 6 health. Blood Leech, level 2 health. He cannot take a single hit. Now, he does summon Blood Wisp, so obviously it's meant to... He's meant to, like, fill up spaces as people... to make sure you always have all of your spaces full. The Battle Thane triggers counters, which is pretty cool. 7 health. Battle Mage, frontline only, 9 health. So he's meant... If you want to build a mage party, you probably need a Battle Mage. And a Cleric, he only has 5 health at this difficulty, so he can maybe take 1 or 2 hits. Problem is he only restores 1 health to everyone in the line. Elemancer, 3 health. The Immortal, 9 health. Maladox, 2 health. He can't take a single hit, really. The Ranger, 5 health. Kind of weak. 8 health from the Royal Captain. Sage of the Word, 4 health. And somehow that crown is worth 1 hit point. The Smuggler is just really for building money. The Venom Witch, 4 health. Void Summoner, 2 health. And Xerxes, after the first round, summon a poison scale. After the first and second round, summon 4 health. Really weak for an archer. Then we have our heroes, who this guy's only got 6, but he's supposed to be in the summon build, so you know he'll regen with that. Ares the Lost Knight, 9. Remu with the Lightning Caller is a fighter technically, but it gives you power, so it's supposed to be in a power build. Zero is okay for low health because they transform into a bear when they're done, and they will restore health. I don't know if they keep the restore health. I've never gotten to play with them. Attacks twice exhausted, only 5 health, but is multi-class, so we'll get all of your team-wide buffs. So they're deceptively weaker than you think they are. Start and at death, fill your board with legit halflings, but only 3 health, so they're supposed to die. Lyra, only 4 health, but is in a hope build, so you should have lots of healing. The Alchemist, 4 health, but in an armor build, should be gaining armor. I'm not sure, I haven't had a chance to play with him. Nyx, 5 health, dances around. Tar, 8 health, and every time they kill, will restore health. The Devour, I loved playing with this one. When a poison character dies, summon a slime. 16 health. This, if you want to do a poison build, you really need either Devour or Vend the Eldest, which is when a poison character dies, gain attack and restore health. High Priestess, restore 1 health to all other allies as a follow-up. Only 3 hit points. She's not healing herself. And then Zen, powerful and difficult to use because you only got 2 health. So, right away, at the higher difficulties, your characters cannot take hits if they are a backline character. And you do not have the spaces to have a big backline. You can have archers. Some of them are really good. Like this hunter is actually really good. Just because he like constantly shoots things. Who is the hunter anyway? Did I not see him? He's right here. Yeah, he gets really cool cloak. He has 6 damage. He follows up and he does, so he'll do at least 4 damage. and he'll snipe at enemies. So he's really good for like a stand-in for a Doom build, or these characters that are killing each other. So he's got his uses. But the problem right now with the game is that the backline is way too weak. And Hope manages to get around that problem because you're constantly healing. Armor gets around the problem because you're constantly putting on armor. The rest of the stuff does not. It noticeably drops off. If I make a big summon build, I have to have 2 of the people devoted to summoning at least. One of them needs to be able to summon reliably, and one of them needs to summon at the start of the game or the first. So for instance, if I build a summon build, after the first round, the druid will summon 2 companions. I cannot build a summon build just around the druid because they're only going to summon the one time. There's no item, there's no ability that allows you to. Now there's like a cloak for archers where they will summon every time they get a kill. Or I can do the Evoking God, who every time they take damage, they summon something. And so that will let me constantly summon and trigger the summoning buffs and summoning effects. Poison. Let's try it this way. The reason why those 2 builds, Hope, which is known as healing, and Armor, which is very defensive, the reason why these 2 are the only ones that can really go for long periods into, most of the time, reliably. I mean, you can get uber builds here just through random luck of the draw. But the reason why it's usually healing or armor is because those are the teams that are not built around a single knockout punch. They're not going to win most fights in 2 or 3 rounds. They are built simply to last 10 rounds or longer, usually. When you can't last that long at the 3rd tier of the dungeon or the final bosses, you have a lot of trouble. Poison is what I would consider mid-tier. It's usually meant to finish a fight before the 10th round because the poison is constant. You're constantly doing bonus damage with poison. You're doing damage over time with poison. So after 1 or 2 rounds, a poison build is going to have a significant boost to its damage. But a lot of the poisonous characters just can't really take hits, as we've seen. So you don't have more than 6, 7, 8 rounds, usually. If you can't finish the fight, then you're in trouble. Power builds are decently tanky, but if you're building most of your items and characters to gain an increase in game bonuses off power, then you are going to hope that you are killing them within about 5 or 6 rounds. There's some archer builds where you can get like items up here where all archers attack at the beginning of a battle, which just a huge volley of arrows does bonus damage. Most archers are decently fast as well, so I think they are. You've also got a lot of speed items that you can give them. That's 4, it's not that great. Well, he's 6, so he is pretty good. He's 7. He's 7. Yeah, most archers are going to be a bit faster than us. He's 6. So the idea with that is that I do a lot of damage before the fight starts, then I do another wave of damage, and I've already started killing enemies before they even get to act. What other builds we got? Counter builds are pretty decent. They just, especially with the Thane, is it? Counter build is now round end, gains 1 power. This is just for if you have a lot of dwarves. Where's my battle Thane, which is counter build is now possible if you get the battle Thane. Because you can reliably trigger their counter effects now, and he can go wherever you want. So you put him basically just here, and then he'll trigger this, and this counter, and you're good. You have tons of damage coming out. As well as you can give people counter items. But like, this witch does double damage whenever your character's poisoned. So she should be doing 6 damage a round. She's also going to summon a poison slap on the first couple rounds to help spread more poison. But she can't take any hits. And that's why, if you can't take hits, if you build your party around a single I want a knockout punch. I'm just going to burn you down with damage. You might not be able to complete the end of the game because the third tier has really tanky bosses. The old gods have 250, 300 hit points at the higher levels of difficulty. You cannot build a team that is, once you start getting above to around 20 damage around, that's impressive, but you're not getting anything better than that. You're not going to be doing 50, 75 damage around and just taking out massive chunks of that HP bar. So they have been talking about they want to make other builds more viable. There's just one problem, I think, that is holding the game back. And it's actually something that I think would help the game a lot. And so this game is a roguelike game, which means that as I play the game, it's really hard to win the first couple of times. But as I play the game, I unlock new stuff, I get stronger, and I move through. The issue with that is the Dungeon Beneath doesn't really play that way. The Dungeon Beneath doesn't give you buffs and higher stats when you win the game. They unlock new rooms, and they unlock new items, and they unlock new characters for you to use that are better. But then it's still 100% random if you get the characters. So I think that in order to help make the weaker builds a little more viable, I, as the player, need to get stronger. Right now, there's only one player buff available in the entire game based on doing this. And it's this one right here. I can choose a boon at the beginning of the game. I can either, if I kill Abaddon, any difficulty, I can start with 8 more gold. So if I know that there's a certain build and items that I want, and I know it's going to be very gold heavy, I'm going to choose this one. When you kill Illifal, you get a random level 2 character. If you know that you're going to be having a lot of characters, or you just really want that huge power boost on the first floor, you take this one. If you choose Nazatoth, you get a rare item. I don't know. They recently changed how this works because the items were not that great. I think it's better. This may be viable now. I'll have to start testing and play. And then if you beat the Keeper, which I think I need to do because I think I need to close the portal because I think they changed it again. I don't know. If I beat the Keeper, my party limit is increased by 1. And I was like, that is amazing. Yes. And then at the battle start, your hero takes 1 damage. And as you saw when we were going through the classes, your characters cannot heal your hero. There are a couple of items you can equip with the hero, but really this is, at the higher difficulty, this is just not usable, you guys. I love the idea of letting, maybe this should just be if you've beaten the Keeper, your party limit is increased by 1 period. I don't know. But this is just not viable because you're either blowing significant amounts of gold. And I know what you're thinking. Well, Cal, every time you go to a campfire, you can buy a potion of healing. This is totally viable. And you're not wrong. And it's not, I think it's 1 or 2 gold, depending on your difficulty. It's not super expensive. The problem is if I go to a campfire, I'm not going to the bonfire where I can buy XP potions and have even more character selection. Or I'm not going to the Keymaster and I'm getting keys that will allow me to unlock really powerful people later. Or I'm not going to a treasure room and getting an item or bonus gold. Or I'm not going to... If I'm doing the campfire to constantly buy healing potions, not only is it draining my already precious gold, but I'm also forced to not choose other options that will boost my party in ways that they need to be boosted. I don't consider Soul of the Keeper very viable. Maybe they're going to introduce a hero that will heal a lot easier, or a way to heal them easier. I don't know, but it's really high risk, high reward, and I don't think a lot of new players are going to like it. So I choose one of these 3 buffs. I feel like as you level up, you should get other buffs. Maybe all characters have 1 extra health. All characters have something. Increase your party limit to 6 if you get a lot of level ups. I am not sure. This is just my best party ever. Don't worry about me. I'm just looking at the statues. But I feel like the thing that makes this game harder than it has to be is because of the party formations, the fact that some builds are still way better than others, or, you know, limitations that can usually be conquered. But it's very hard to do this. That counts as a completed room? I didn't do anything. Interesting. If you're having trouble, you can just cheese and get 18 points each round and just grind your way up. And I mean, they're introducing new characters and they've said we want to make other builds more viable. But I feel like until I get stronger as a player, that's going to be a very hard needle to thread. Because you can give the most uber powerful hope and poison and counter and inexhaustible characters that you want. But if it's always 100% random, I might not even see them. And if I don't see them, they're not really useful to me. And there are so many characters now that it's getting really hard to make certain builds sometimes. Because you've probably seen me. I'm clicking through that. That's why they introduced the bonfire. But the bonfire doesn't replace all campfires. So especially at the beginning of the game, I still have to go to campfires and I have to cycle through 3 at a time. And it is just so hard to get certain characters sometimes. You can get any of the hero classes, the uber named characters at the very end of that book I showed you at the beginning of. You can get any one of them with a ring of transformation. I can't remember how. I think I have to. What do I have to? I think I have to turn the ring into an item, give somebody the item, and then somebody remind me in the comments how to do that. I gotta look it up. But you can get any character you want through that. But other than that, it's just luck of the draw. So that's my analysis of the Dungeon Beneath. It's a really fun, awesome game. It is held back by the fact that I don't get any stronger. I get a lot more cool stuff to unlock, and maybe I get to see them in a dungeon run. But I myself don't really get that much stronger. I get a little stronger from killing evil gods. That's it. I don't get any stronger from leveling up. And I feel like until you start getting stronger from leveling up, that it's going to hold it back from other roguelikes, where other roguelikes, it's inevitable if you keep playing that you will win. It's okay that they can be hard and frustrating, because eventually I will be strong enough to win. No matter what my skill level is, how poor I am at the game, I will eventually get strong enough to win. But at the Dungeon Beneath, I will not eventually get strong enough to where I have a decent chance of. It is almost all random chance, even at max level like I am. I might choose a hero. I might choose Dominique here, just because he's the first one. And I can choose whichever god is best for the heal builds. And I can choose an item that guarantees really good heal stuff. And I might not get a single hope character the entire game. And this run, it's still a fun run, but I know for a fact that I'm not winning this at the higher difficulties. So that is what I would think is just thoughts and ideas and analysis on the Dungeon Beneath right now. It's just a little bit different of a video. Next time we're going to have more playthroughs. I need to get to the portal again. I might do it on. I don't want to do it on New Game Minus, because first of all, I don't know if you can. Second of all, that seems like a tap out. I had so much fun building that awesome Doom build that I accidentally forgot to get to the portal. But we'll do that next time. Guys, thank you for watching my random babbling video. Hey, what do you think would help the Dungeon Beneath get better as a game? There's a comment section below. And while you're at it, why don't you like and subscribe? Because a lot of you aren't subscribed. And more people aren't going to get to see this build. This is the 2.0 build of the Cows channel. If you want to get to 2.5, we need more subscribers. But guys, thank you so much. Play this game. Play more games. You deserve the fun. And I'll see you next time.